Hey everyone, Escaped Alien here. So we have another PSA submission. This will be my August 2024 submission. So as usual, we'll go through the cards that I'm submitting before I send them off to PSA. And then once I get the return, it'll be instantaneous. We'll just slide straight into the return and go through the grades. So I tried to organize this by game. We're going to start off with Pokemon. First card I have up, Cincino. It's either Cincino or Cincino, I'm not really sure. But I believe this is from Temporal Forces. Just a cool illustration card, very cute. And I really like these illustration cards that have a lot going on in the background. And I think the holo pattern's pretty rad on these. So not too much else to say on that one. Next up, Raikou V. So I believe this is from the Galarian Gallery. Another very cool example of that holo pattern, but just a badass looking Pokemon card. Alright, then we have a tag team card. So, never really sure what set these are from off the top of my head. Obviously I know when I submit it to PSA, but we have Marshadow and Machamp. I think the tag team cards were a really cool little thing Pokemon did. So I'm always happy to get some more of these in the collection. But just a really cool idea. Okay, another Morpeko. I've submitted plenty of these before. So I'm just going to keep submitting them until I'm out of the raw cards. That'll definitely be up for sale. Then I have something kind of interesting. So I have, if you've watched my prior PSA submissions, I finally got the PSA 10 of this Bulbasaur. It is the 151 Best Buy promo. It's got the little stamp in the corner. So I don't need this in a 10, but what I decided to do, I'm going to submit the GameStop 151 promo Charmander in this submission, along with the Pokemon Center stamped 151 Squirtle. So I don't honestly have super high hopes for these two cards getting a 10, but I'm going to start submitting these hopefully in back-to-back submissions until I do get a 10. I mean, there's nothing on them that shows me condition-wise they shouldn't be able to get a 10, but the centering is kind of questionable. So regardless, I'm going to submit them, see if I can't get a potential sequential set of 10, or at least over time build up to a set of PSA 10s for those. Then these are always kind of just throw-ins for me when I'm looking for a little more to pad out the submissions. These are the UPC Metal Muse from 151. Just found that they're kind of easy to grade and easy to flip into 10. You don't make a lot of money, but it kind of helps with the submission cost when you have a handful of these to sell. So, going to be submitting 5 this cycle. Okay, we are then moving into Elestrals. So this is Cryo Scorch from the Frostfall set. This is going to be a booster box topper. Very cool looking Elestral. And just thought it would be a good looking card to have in a slab. Next up is the Ferrogeist. So this is going to be from the Daybreak set, and this is actually a pre-order card. So if you pre-order Daybreak above a certain price, or maybe it didn't even have to be a certain price. I want to say it was $50 or more, but regardless, this was a pre-order promo card. And just super cool. They moved into these like tablet designs. We're kind of moving into an era that maybe looks a little more kind of ancient Middle Eastern Egyptian style. So definitely going to submit that, see what happens. And then I have 3 of these Chronodial cards. So these were like bundle toppers for the Shattered Stars month 7. month 7 or month 8. Sorry, I'm kind of confusing it. We're pretty far along with the Shattered Stars line of Elestrals, but another one of those tablet designs. Super cool idea from Elestrals. So I'm going to submit 3 of those. And the holo pattern's really interesting on these. They chose only certain portions of the cards, and I think it kind of makes it pop a little bit more. So we'll see what happens with those. Submitting 3, hoping that one comes back a 10. Next up, we have Apollo. So this is from the solar month of Shattered Stars. It looks like this artwork, I mean, it stays consistent in the way that it's kind of like a carved statue, but it looks like they kind of moved to a copper or bronze rather than the prior months of the Shattered Stars gods being carved out of marble. But still a very, very cool card. It's got 3 of those, hoping for a 10. Same thing from the solar month. This is going to be Celestlio in stained glass. Really big fan of the stained glass line of cards in Elestrals. Just like the marble cards, I want at least one of each of these at a 10 to complete an entire PSA 10 set. So I'm just continuing on with that, submitting 3 of those. This is a Pantera stained glass. This is actually from the first month of Shattered Stars. So Pantera, I would kind of say, is Elestral's Charizard. I think any Pantera card eventually will kind of hold some value as far as the collector's market goes. So I've submitted these before, I've achieved my 10, but that's just going to be more for trade fodder or being able to sell to fund future buys. So in the solar month of Shattered Stars, I was once again lucky enough to pull a Stellar. This is Retora, number 47 out of 99. Every single Stellar that passes through my hands will go into a slab for preservation's sake, and then I'd have to imagine, like pretty much any card, if it gets a PSA 10, it's just going to add to the value should I ever choose to sell. But with Stellars, I keep all of my Stellars unless I get an extra. So, as always, super lucky to have another Stellar. Have one single sorcery card. This is going to be the box topper for Beta Avatar Sorcerer. Very, very, very cool artwork. Have not had luck grading sorcery yet. Seems like, as far as their cutting goes, the back's kind of a little bit rough on all them. So at least the way they cut with whatever, sharpness of blades they use, the fronts always look decent, but the backs, I think that's where you get dinged a lot of points. I have to imagine, as far as centering goes with sorcery, I mean, only the back has a border, and I want to say that PSA generally grades a little more graciously on the centering of a back of a card. So I'd have to imagine the front, unless it was like super noticeable, maybe down in the text box, wouldn't ding you too much there. But just going to submit that. Thought it'd be cool to have that in a slab. Next up is Chronicles of Arcane. This is Arcane Foundry of Existence. So, got some decent deals on actually 2 of these from a buddy. So this was a lot purchase for 2 on eBay. I was pretty happy with the deal I got, but always going to be kind of dabbling in Chronicles of Arcane, checking out what they come out with next, but this seems to be either the most desirable card from Kickstarter, or at least one of them. So, going to go ahead and submit 2 of them, see what happens with the PSA grades, and I'll probably end up selling the lower graded one, but definitely going to keep one in the slab. Moving on to Metazoo. So we actually have a decent amount of Metazoo to go over in this submission. So we have Rudy Claus, always a classic card. I am not expecting a 10 out of this card. I think it's going to get a 9. But this is kind of one of those cards where I noticed if you're willing to kind of sit on it and wait, even a PSA 9 can get a higher price than a graded card. And this is just an extra for me, so I'm going to kind of just try to see if I can't get a little more money out of it to fund the collection. I feel like at this point it's probably better just to get Even if I can get a PSA 9, I'd be happy with that. But that'll be definitely up for sale. And then we have Rudy the Cave paintings. So most of these cards actually don't have great centering. I say most of them, like there's more than 3. So 2 of them have really, frankly, bad centering. So I'm not expecting a 10 out of these. This one I think actually has a shot at a 10. These are all extras regardless, but ironically what I'm trying to do, it's going to sound crazy, but I'm trying to get a 9. I have not seen a PSA 9 come up on eBay for a reasonable price, but I have a full set of the Rudies. You guys that watch my videos know that I have a full set of the Rudies in 10. I sold my extra set of PSA 10s, but I also have a set of PSA 9s with the exception of the native Rudy. And frankly, I just really like to get that up for sale. There's no point in keeping a set of PSA 9s when you have this set of PSA 10s. But selling 9s individually, I feel like you're not really going to go anywhere. So I feel like they'd be worth a little bit more if I could just sell them at least in a complete set of 9s. Obviously, nowhere near the price of a set of PSA 10s. But I just like to recoup the money out of them. And I think if I can complete the whole set in PSA 9, I'd be able to get a little more money out of them. So 2 of these, I'm expecting to most likely get a 9. One of them, I think, has a shot at a 10. Okay, so I was actually lucky enough to pick up a few sets of this Point Pleasant promo for the Mothman and the Point Pleasant City. Super dope promos. The Mothman looks awesome, and from what I've heard, this is kind of like the little downtown strip of Point Pleasant. So didn't get to go to any of the Metazoo festivals, any of the conventions, but it's a really sick promo set. Definitely would love to have this set in PSA 10. And then I do have some extras that I'll just throw into future submissions, and those will either be trading fodder or stuff up for sale to fund future purchases. Next up, we have a Men in Black. This is just from UFO. Nothing too special about it, but centering looked good, condition looked good, and I just think you cannot go wrong with having Men in Black in a slab. So whether or not I keep it or I end up selling it, I think Men in Black is always going to be a card. If it's PSA 10able, has a shot at a 10, I think it's always worth having in a slab. Okay, then we have 2 Prism Auras. So, once again, if you follow my channel, you know that I open Wilderness daily, single pack a day, trying to get a ticket. And through those pack openings, I've actually been fortunate enough to pull a decent amount of Prism Auras. Kind of seems like I am lucky enough to pull more than what's usually expected. So these 2 had good enough conditioning and centering to where I thought they had a shot at a 10. And Prism Auras, you know, if you're kind of willing to sit on them, once in a blue moon you see an auction go for a high price, but I don't have one in a PSA 10 yet, so I'd love to have that for the collection. And whatever the other one grades, it'll probably be up for sale. Next up, this is a hookup from my boy Spooky Molder. Did a deal with him, and he threw in the Archcaster Poker Knight. This is serialized 621 out of 1,000. So I always feel like whenever a card is serialized, it makes it feel like it's worth more. But 1,000 of these cards is actually a very high number. So this is not, I mean, unless a lot of people didn't get, you know, their promo card, and they might have it out of 1,000, but a lot of people didn't get it. But even then, this one's 621, so unless they were randomly taken out of the pile in no particular order, you know, I'd have to imagine there's a good amount of these out there. Regardless of that, though, very cool artwork. Look who you have at the table. Mothman, Cumberland Dragon, Flatwoods Monster, maybe Bigfoot there, and then Wendigo. So it's just a super cool artwork, and definitely think it's worthy of a slab. Okay, now we have a Kickstarter full holo here. Hodag. Can't go wrong with a Kickstarter full holo Hodag. So, as I've said before, any holo Kickstarter card that's in good condition with decent centering, I think is worthy of a slab. So we'll see what happens with that, but that's definitely going to be a PC item. Moving on to playtesters. So those that follow often know that I'm a big fan of playtesters. We have a mini T-Rex here. It looks like mini T-Rex is 5 per spell book, so there's a decent amount of these out there. But just an iconic Metazoo artwork. And for me, any holo playtester is worthy of a slab. So especially when I get kind of a more iconic artwork, I'm definitely going to be slabbing that up. So with the playtesters, frankly, I'm not really expecting any of them to get a 10. Obviously, I'd be super stoked if it did, but I still think holo playtesters, you know, they should be slabbed in my opinion. Nobody's actually really playing with playtesters unless you're kind of one of those interesting people that thinks it's fun to kind of throw more valuable cards in a deck, even though there's cheaper versions of them out there. Maybe Noah. I know Noah likes building kind of expensive decks and playing with variants of cards. Then we have Atmospheric Jellyfish. So I have submitted one Atmospheric Jellyfish before. It came back a PSA 9. Managed to get another one for a reasonable price. These are 5 per spell book, so there is a decent amount of these out there. So we'll see what happens with that one. Then we're coming up to some cards that are playtesters that I would kind of more throw in that Grail category, at least at minimum gem category. Men in Black. So I really don't think this Men in Black's actually going to get a high grade. I kind of overpaid for it, if I'm being honest, when I was kind of got in a bidding war on eBay over this card, and once I got it, if I'm being frank, it's got a little bit of a cigarette smell. I don't know if PSA cares about that, but I did notice some scratching on it. So frankly, would not doubt if this thing came back like a 7. But until I can get a better grade, I mean, Men in Black is only 2 per spell book, so there's really not a lot of them out there. That probably means there's about 70 of these cards in existence. So I still think it's worthy of a slab, and then, you know, maybe over time, if I can get some more copies, I'll upgrade it and sell this copy. But for now, it'll kind of fill a gap in the collection. Really love Men in Black cards. Next up, we have Chains of Old Scratch. Definitely one of the more desirable playtester cards. This is 3 per spell book, so still a good amount of them out there. But, I mean, poncho artwork is super badass. I think most big Metazoo fans would love to have this in their collection. So, might get a 10, but I'm kind of assuming more of an 8 or a 9 card here. And our final playtester card, Satanic Panic. 3 per spell book, but another super desirable playtester card for Metazoo collectors. Kind of in the same boat of Chains of Old Scratch, in that I don't think it's going to get a 10 necessarily. I could see an 8 or a 9, but super badass card to have in the collection nonetheless. Another very dark poncho artwork, so can't go wrong having that one. Okay, we have a single Alpha Clash card. I've talked about Alpha Clash a little bit. I'm not a very big collector by any means of Alpha Clash, but thought this card was kind of an example of some of their nicer artwork and cool holo patterns. Clarity, Ageless Defender. So I always kind of try to throw, you know, a mix of card games in there just to keep it a little more fun, build up a little bit of a collection in some card games that don't necessarily get graded as much. So we'll see what happens with that Alpha Clash card. This is probably going to be a little bit boring for those of you that follow my PSA submissions, but have not gotten July's submission back yet. That has a full set of these, and then this was what was remaining of kind of better condition of the D100 collector's kits from the second Lorcana set. So we're just going to have to see. I mean, July submission could complete that PSA 10 set, but regardless, I'm going to submit these because after this submission for August, I'm hoping I'm finally done with submitting these. I might do more in the future if I see some path forward to where they're worth selling so I can recoup some money on the submissions for the cards that I actually want to keep. But as long as I can get my PSA 10 set, I'll feel satisfied with that. It's been a long time coming. I've opened 6 of these boxes on the channel trying to achieve a PSA 10 set. And then I'm going to have probably a decent amount of PSA 9 sets that I'm just going to try to sell to hopefully maybe break even. But my advice to any of you that are trying to achieve this set of PSA 10, it is very difficult. And the last card, Dragon Ball Z Fusion World. So this is Son Goku. And just a really cool Goku card. Don't think this is going to be anything super special. It's an SR. But really big fan of the artwork. Dragon Ball Z is iconic, so probably to a lot of people wouldn't be very sensible to grade this card, but I really dig the Dragon Ball Z artwork. So I'll probably try to see if I can follow the pricing a little bit more and try to kind of get some of the more expensive cards. But if I'm being honest, PSA had a deal in August where you can get the submission rate for $14 a card rather than $15 a card. And I kind of panicked because I got really busy and I got down to August 31st. So it was the last day to do a submission. And as I said, I try to diversify these submissions, throw in a decent amount of games. So I kind of grabbed this card as like a filler to get to 50 cards. But still a cool artwork, and I would not mind having this in a slab. I just really hope it comes back at 10, because when you kind of submit some of the cheaper cards, it's like, if you get under a 10, that's really to the point where it was like, that wasn't worth it at all. So we'll see what happens with that. So that is our stack of 50 more cards going off to PSA. So I'll probably see these cards in a month or two, coming back as slabs. But for you guys, as always, it'll be instantaneous. So I'll see you in a few seconds. And we are back. Got the homie Metazoo Cruise playmat here. Probably one of my favorite playmats in the Metazoo world. And here is our box of 50 slabs. So let me just take out this little piece of paper with my info on it. Sorry for the shaky camera. Okay. There they are. So I've actually had this for a little while, and had a busy week, so couldn't get to it. So I'll do my usual thing, where as I go through, you'll see the population of each card up in the left hand corner. I don't know if you can tell, there's like one slab that's a different color. Kind of interesting. But I'm going to go ahead and pull all these out, and I'm going to try to organize them just by game, and then we'll go game by game. So just give me a second, and then we'll get back to real time. Okay, and we're back to regular time. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Pokemon. And I've just organized them, like I said, by game. So we'll just go through a game at a time. First off, we have a card I've graded plenty before, the Metal Mew. I didn't do so well on these the last time that I graded them. So these are the Metal Mews from the Pokemon 151 UPC pack. First one's a 9. So it's kind of odd because I used to grade those. I mean, I've graded them pretty frequently, and all my old submissions, like, they used to consistently get 10s. And I'm using the same grading criteria, and I've been getting 9s lately. Okay, so that one's a 10. So we'll make our 2 different piles. Another 9. Another 9. I graded a good handful of them. And a 10. Okay. So out of 5, that time I only got 2 10s. So hopefully... I don't know. I'll have to re-look at the 9s and see if there's something I'm missing. Okay, so next up, this is going to be the Pokemon Center promo Squirtle from 151. This was one of those ones you had to order something off the Pokemon Center to get. And that got a 9. I've seen a few of those promos when I've kind of gone hunting for cards. It really seems to be difficult to get one with good centering. So this is going to be the GameStop Charmander. It was the 151 exclusive for doing I want to say it was a pre-order through them. And that one got a 9 as well. And the Best Buy 151 Bulbasaur. A 9. Well, that's okay. This one I already have a 10 on, so I'm going to keep trying to hunt a 10 for the Charmander and Squirtle. But very, very difficult cards to grade, it seems. Alright, so we have Raikou from Crown Zenith. Pretty dope artwork. And that got a 10. Awesome. Morpeko. Graded plenty of these before from Paradox Rift. That got a 9. So we're not doing too hot on Pokemon right now. A lot of 9s. Alright, so we have the Marshadow and Machamp GX Tag Team. Always thought these team up cards were super, super cool. And I like how they did the holo in them. You can kind of see those lines going through it. That got a 10 right on. And Cicino. And I can't even remember the set this is from, but just thought the card was cute. Really like the artwork on it. That got a 10 right on. Okay, so looks like we got a couple more 9s than 10s for Pokemon. So hopefully we do better on the other games. Okay, next up, Dragon Ball Z Fusion World Son Goku. So looking back on it, this card, not a rare card at all. And I want to say on TCG Player it's like less than $1. So, cool artwork, but probably doesn't make sense to grade. But at least we got a 10 on it. Next up we have Alpha Clash. So this was a Kickstarter stretch goal promo. I've been noticing the price on a lot of these Kickstarter promos are starting to go up a little bit. But I do think that the promos in Alpha Clash are super dope. And we got a 10 on that. Very nice. Chronicles of Arcane. So I don't have a ton of Chronicles of Arcane, but when I see a good deal on cool cards, or if I've opened a pack here or there, through maybe like Dark Eyes, whatnot streams, then I'll try to submit stuff. So these were a pickup from one of my friends. I actually got 2 of them from him, and it got a 10 right on. Arcane Foundry of Existence from Kickstarter. So here is our second one. Same card, and we got another 10. That's awesome. Well, one of those will go on the PC, and then one of those will go up for sale. Sorcery Probably one of the most brutal games to grade out of all the popular indie TCGs right now. So it's going to be the beta box topper. Another 9. Someday I will break my sorcery curse and I'll get a 10 on something. Okay, so now we're on to Lorcana. Just 4 Lorcana cards. Once again, just the D100 Collector's Kit promos. There's 2 of them that I need to complete my PSA 10 set. I've submitted a ton of these trying to achieve that. Maleficent isn't one of them that I need, but let's see what we get. That's a 9, that's okay. Next up is Elsa. Don't believe I need Elsa. That got a 9. Don't need it, so that's fine. So the next 2 cards are the ones that I need. I need Mickey Mouse and a 10. And we got it. Awesome. And let's see if I can get Stitch in a 10. That would complete my PSA 10 set. We got it. PSA 10 Stitch. Alright, well, I might still grade more of these to see if I can kind of complete some other sets, but I'm really glad to have that PSA 10 set done. These are super challenging to grade. So good luck if anybody else tries to get a PSA 10 set of those promos. Okay, so we are moving on to Elestrals. So we have a Chronodial. This was a Shattered Stars card, and it was the topper to the 3 packs. Super cool artwork. They call these the tablet cards because it looks like it's carved out of stone tablets, and we got a 10. Second Chronodial. And a second 10. Next up we have Apollo. Once again from Shattered Stars. And we got a 10. Another Apollo. And another 10. Doing good on Elestrals so far. And our third Apollo. And a third 10. Right on. Like to see it. Okay, so here's our third Chronodial. And another 10. So I'll keep those together. Fairgeist. Okay, so this is a pretty cool promo. This was from the shop Elestrals, so you had to order above a certain amount by a certain time period, and they sent you this promo. Another one of those really dope kind of tablet style cards. And another 10. That's awesome. Nice add to the PC there. Let's save the Stellar for last. I always like saving the Stellar for last on the Elestrals cards. Okay, so we have Celestlio. This was the stained glass from the last Shattered Stars month, the solar month. And a 10. Perfect. Another Celestlio. Another 10. Okay, so this is Pantera. This is actually from the first month of Shattered Stars. Seems to kind of be the Charizard of Elestrals, from what I can tell. And we got a 10. Very nice. Oh. Another Celestlio. Another 10. So 3 for 3 on the Celestlios too. Cryo Scorch. This is a Frostfall booster box topper. You get 1 per box. And a 10. Okay, we're killing it on Elestrals. So now, the Mac Daddy for this submission when it comes to Elestrals. The Stellar Dratara, number 47 out of 99. And we get a 10. Super nice. I mean, I grade Stellars no matter what grade they're going to get, just because they're so rare. but to get another 10 on a stellar, that is killer. So every single Elestrals card there got a 10. And I will say that's not necessarily indicative of Elestrals. You really got to look at the cards before you submit them, but I did pretty well picking those out. Okay, so we have a Prism Aura from Metazoo Wilderness. Can't ever go wrong with getting one of these as a hit. So I looked through, I got quite a bit of Prism Auras because of my daily pack challenge where I open 1 pack of Wilderness a day. So I just decided to go through and see if any of them were gradable examples. And we got a 10. Very, very cool. Men in Black. I'm probably always going to grade any Men in Black card that I pull, as long as it has decent condition and centering. Just think it's a super cool card. It's probably one of my favorite cards, if not my favorite card in UFO. And we got a 10. So next up, this is the Mothman from Point Pleasant 2023 promo. I did not go to Point Pleasant to get this. Got this off of somebody that did. And we got a 10. Awesome. And I just threw my Men in Black slab. Okay. Rudy Claws. Graded plenty of these before, and we get a 9. That's okay. That's just going to be for sale. Okay, I think I'm going to sort through these a little bit. Okay. Point Pleasant, this is going to be the city card. So that's going to go with that Mothman. And a 10 on that as well. Very, very cool. And it is nice because the numbering on these 53 and 54, so that's a nice little set to have there. Very dope. Gonna try to I have a decent amount of play testers in this one, so I think I'm gonna do those last. Alright, another Prism Aura. And another 10. Right on. So both those Prism Auras hit the 10. Rudy the Cave Painting. So if you remember, I actually need one of these in a 9. So through my chase of getting 10s, I got quite a few 9s for the entire set of the Rudy promos. So I actually just needed the Cave Painting in a 9 in order to complete a PSA 9 set of them, and I'm not going to keep that. I'm just going to sell it because I figure, you know, if somebody doesn't want to pay the money for the 10, it's still really cool to have the entire collection of them slabbed up. But I wanted to sell it as a full set rather than individual PSA 9s, so I submitted 3 of these. Okay, we got a 10. Can't complain about a 10, but ironically kind of hoping one of them hits a 9. Alright, so here's our second one. That gets an 8. So kind of figured, I mean, I just basically submitted like the last 3 that I had, and that one had really bad centering. So that makes sense. Here is our last one. So we're really hoping for a 9 here, and we get a 9. Like I said, pretty ironic to be hoping for a PSA 9, but that should help me sell off that set finally. So okay, another playtester there. It's a Kickstarter one. And I'm blocking all the grades as I look at the front of these cards. Okay, we'll do that one next. Okay. So next up, this is the Archcaster Poker Night. Serialized out of 1,000. Didn't really seem like there was too much of a point serializing a card out of 1,000. That's a ton of those cards out there, but still really, really cool artwork. Got Mothman, Cumberland Dragon, Flatwoods Monster, Bigfoot, and Wendigo all playing poker together. Super, super dope. We get a 10 on that. Nice little addition to the collection there. Next up, a Kickstarter full holo Hodag. Every holo Kickstarter card deserves to be slabbed, in my opinion. And that got a 10. Very, very nice addition to the personal collection. Okay, as I said, I love the Men in Black artwork from UFO. So this is the playtester Men in Black. Wasn't expecting a 10 on this because the centering is definitely left heavy on the front. And to be frank, the card kind of smells like cigarettes. I made the joke on the Oasis Discord that this was a scratch and sniff card. So the Men in Black guys are smoking cigarettes, and whoever the owner of this card was definitely partakes. And we get a 9. That's okay. Super cool to have in the collection though. Okay, Mini T-Rex. So no matter what this card gets as a grade, it's actually probably going to be up for sale because my friend Justin Montgomery, I did a trade with him and I actually got a PSA 10 off of him, so I don't need 2 of these cards. But mine got a 9. Alright, so that'll probably be up for sale no matter what. Atmospheric Jellyfish from Wilderness, another playtester. Really dig the artwork on this card, and somebody I know in my life also really likes this cryptid, or this kind of alien thing. We've had conversations about it before, so I just think it's super fun that Metazoo made a card of it. And I've actually graded one of these before. I got a 9 on it, so I was kind of hoping for a 10 to replace that one. But we get another 9. So that one will probably be up for sale as well. Okay, so these are the last 2 cards that I was really excited for. So the first one, Satanic Panic Seance Playtester. Yeah, just super dope. I really loved that old Metazoo went there with darker themes. Kind of seems like there's a chance that new Metazoo won't be doing this so much. So I think these are going to be very iconic Metazoo cards moving forward, especially in a playtester example. So we got a 10. That is an amazing addition to my personal collection. Super stoked on that. And our final card, another dark themed artwork by Poncho, Chains of Old Scratch from Seance Playtester. Another card I've always wanted, and I finally have it, and now it's slabbed. Let's see what we get. Gem Mint 10. Alright, probably most stoked on these 2 cards. I mean, what a duo to have. Number 62 and 63 are the ending numbers in the cert. So it's kind of nice that they come together as a pair. But those are going to be prized possessions in my collection. Super, super stoked on that. Alright, so let's see how we did in total. So 50 cards submitted. 1 PSA 8. For PSA 9s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, let's see. That would be 15, 16 got less than a 10. So that would leave us with 34 PSA 10s, which brings us to 68% of the cards that we hit were PSA 10. So I would definitely say that submission was a success. I think I did better on this one than the last one. But some super, super cool cards to add to the collection on this one. I mean, the Metazoo cards, that's just killer right there. A lot of kind of throw in some stuff that I'll be selling. But yeah, I'm super happy with this sub. Then Elestrals, always super cool to get a stellar card, but to get a 10 on top of it, that is amazing. The Shop Elestrals promo, super dope. Especially since that was such a limited card. Don't know how many they produced. Elestrals doesn't really say how much their print runs are. But super dope card. Super glad to have the Lorcana PSA 10 sets. Stoked to see the Chronicles of Arcane Foundries get those 10s. Alpha Clash promo. Dragon Ball Z, and a few cool Pokemon cards to add to the PC. And a few more to sell. Alright, well, let me know in the comments what you think about this submission, and if there are any cards that you particularly liked. And I appreciate you guys watching. I know that these PSA submission videos are pretty dang long, especially since I show the submission before I send it off, but I kind of think, not that anybody, you know, really thinks that I'm like not actually grading these cards myself, but I kind of think showing the cards before I send them off and talking about them before I send them off kind of just adds continuity there, because you see me holding the cards raw before they get graded. So that's kind of my purpose, and I feel like I can kind of talk about the card before, you know, we reveal the grades. But like I said, I mean, grading's probably one of the most fun aspects of collecting to me. And I'm a big fan of how PSA cards display and stuff like that, so yeah, super fun. Alright guys, well, I will catch you guys next time. I have another PSA order going out. I'm gonna keep on trucking with the PSA orders, keep adding to the collection. Very much looking forward to the new Metazoo, finally getting some new cards in our collections and checking out the new gameplay. So this has been Escaped Alien. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.